All right, I want to go to some other numbers that are out, and I found these pretty fascinating today, that almost a third international travellers who arrived in Australia in December were not citizens or permanent residents coming home, as we know they've been lining up to do so, but instead visitors. These are ABS statistics that show 10,000 of the 35,000 people who arrived in December, as I said, marked visitor on their entry card. I tell you, Stephen, we've got 40,000 Aussies waiting to come home. 5,000 of them were told that we now consider by the government as vulnerable. How do you think people at home be reacting to all of these visitors coming in and Australians not?
Well, they'll be spewing. I mean, I read that and was just gobsmacked. I mean, you've got the government last year promised that have every Aussie wanted home by Christmas, and yet we're seeing I find that number extraordinary, 10,000. Now, some of those are involved in a couple of sectors which are generating jobs in Australia. So, for instance, some of them will be people in the movie-making industry, and we know we're having a renaissance because, you know, you've seen The Rock, you've seen a whole bunch of people come here. That's a good thing. But 10,000, someone's got to explain why the government aren't putting on more planes to bring Australians who are vulnerable home, and someone's got to explain what all those other people are doing and how are they getting seats. Is it just because they're rich enough to pay, and a lot of those Aussies over there, backpackers and the like, who can't afford the $7,000, $10,000, $12,000 of a business class seat when they get punted off their economy seats?
I think it also pertains to quarantine, and we know Victoria's not quarantining anyone and didn't for much of last year. We know old mate Mr. Tear 'em up there in Queensland doesn't want to pay the bill of New South Wales and wants to shunt them all down Gladys Berejiklian's way. That's one of the issues, but I'll leave that there. We talk about that all day. I want to go to this issue, and I picked it up over the weekend, Rita. A doctor, this is in the Courier Mail, a doctor in Queensland has had frontline experience of this gender-neutral language, making it really difficult for young children. He reckons, the doctor, that boys and girls are scared to admit that they're heterosexual. We're talking probably there of teenagers, but he says that he's witnessed a panic attack from a 6-year-old child. This is Dr. Stephen Lyons, a GP from Brisbane, because the child was worried about getting the words wrong, trying to identify a boy and a girl picture while having an eye test. I mean, this is crazy.
It is crazy, but it is in our education system, this radical gender theory, these biology deniers who want to indoctrinate kids as early as possible, people obsessed with pronouns and I've got no issue if you want to identify as a gender different to the one you were born, then fine. That makes you happy, go ahead, do that as an adult. But to try to force this upon children and make them feel anxious about perhaps misgendering someone or playing into gender norms, just let them be kids. Most kids naturally gravitate towards whatever their gender is. There are a few of us like me who grew up, were tomboys, but that doesn't mean we're gender confused. We're tomboys, and that used to be okay. Now you'd probably be shunted into some sort of a program to see if you should be transitioned. I mean, we have just gone completely mad with this stuff.
Yeah, I think it's debilitating right around the Western world. All right, I have to leave it there. Stephen Conroy, Rita Panahi, thank you for your time.